Hey folks, having a bit of an after work play in the shop here, and I figured I'd give a little update and open a few packages and talk about some future teardown possibilities, to put up on YouTube. So first up is an accessory for my CNC mini mill here. And many operations require, of course, using a chuck, and this is the chuck that came with a mill. And that's fine, it works great, but the problem is, you stick it in here, you can see that there's very little room between the bottom of the chuck and the top of the vise. So if you want to, say, drill some holes using an even modest size drill bit, this is a 1/4 inch, you're going to have some trouble because you won't be able to grip the shank of the drill bit. This is just too long. So instead of trying to use collets and things to hold drill bits, which is always a bit hit and miss, I picked up these two items. First one I couldn't wait to open, so it's not in the mailbag, or I guess packaging I should say. This little guy. This is a Jacobs 1A chuck. It has a capacity of up to 1/4 inch drill bits, which is usually within the size that I usually employ in my mini mill. And it's really cute. Comes with a key, new old stock. Great. But how do you attach this to the mill? Well, let me show you. So if you take a look at most standalone chucks, and you look at the top, you will see the mounting hole. And if you kind of look down in there, you'll see that there's no threads. So you might wonder, well, what's the point of that? How do I attach this permanently to my mill or to my lathe so that it won't spin with just a smooth bore like that? Well, it's actually in the details. And this word might clarify things a little bit. This hole is not actually straight walled. It's at an angle. And if you have a shank attached to your mill with a similar angle on it, when you tap the drill together with the shank, it'll actually form a very, very solid connection that is also very concentric. If you use a threaded system, then there's always a possibility that the chuck that you're attaching is not concentric with the spindle because of the vagaries of threading. So let me show you the actual implementation of this. Okay, actually, before we do that, let's take a look at this existing chuck. And as it turns out, this chuck is using the same style of mounting system. So this part here has a hole, a taper hole in it, and this part here is the arbor. I think I called it a shank before. It's actually an arbor. So there's the R8 taper up here that fits up into the mill, and if you look down here carefully, you will see that there's actually a hole in the top of this, very similar to this guy, where the arbor has been tapped in from the factory. And well, you're not going to be able to pull this apart without some pretty serious force. So let's take a look at the arbor that I have here for this chuck. All right. So this is an AccuPro brand, new old stock again. Pull this guy apart. There you go. Very similar setup. So these two mate together like that, and this goes up into the mill, and there you go. Here's a closer look. So the actual specific taper that this chuck has is the Jacobs 1 taper, otherwise known as JT1, which is one of the smaller ones, obviously. So what I got to do is I got to clean everything real well, because you don't want any grease or dirt in there. That'll cause the two to, at best, align badly, or at worst, just come apart at an inopportune time. So I'm going to go ahead, bust out the acetone, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, everything's been cleaned. I'm not going to touch either mating surface. Make sure it all feels good, and just pushing it on by hand. It's already fitting together quite nicely, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the jaws of the chuck to below the level of that surface there. Put it together, give it a couple spins again, just gently, and apply some percussive maintenance. I hear that you're supposed to give exactly one good whack and call it good. So I'm going to position this over the leg of my table to get a little bit more of a solid surface here. So ready? Yep. I'll call that jammed together. We'll see if that holds up. That probably will. So what's actually happening here is that when you whack it, I guess you'd call it the outer surface here of the chuck expands a little bit and stretches over the top of the arbor. So that compressive force, once everything is kind of settled, is a very good mounting mechanism. And as you push this in, you know, it'll jam even more on there. So I'll call that good. Let's see how it looks in the mill. I'd call that pretty good. Let's try putting the 1/4 inch bit in there. Well, close. Let's see, am I at the top of my travel? I'm just about at the top of my travel. There's a little bit of clearance. There's a little bit of clearance, but it's better than no clearance whatsoever, or negative clearance. So what's happening is that the top of the shank is actually bottoming out against the top surface of the chuck. But definitely, I'm now able to use the full length 1/4 inch drill bits as long as I'm near the surface of my vise there. So I'd call that a winner. Oh, and before I get off the topic of chucks, little tip: to avoid losing the chuck key, it's a good idea to just lightly chuck it up when you're done. And then you'll always have them together, and they won't roll away as well, depending on the sizes. So always put your chuck key inside of your chuck. Next up is this guy. I think I know what's in here. Here's a hint. It's vaguely reminiscent of pasta. Oops. Sticker. Keep calm and geek on. Oh, another sticker. Man. 3D printing filaments. There we go. We've got some transparent 3mm PLA. I'm out of that. And I've got some white PLA. So this is an easy fill. I haven't used this before. It's supposed to, well, print very nicely. So I'll give it a shot. Do not consume the materials. Here you go. That's what that is. Cool. Alright. Apparently this is delivered by the Amazing Spider-Man. This one, I think, if it's what I think it is, should be quite interesting. Has to do with the military, apparently. There we go. Yes, it is what I think it is. I don't actually know what this is, to be honest. But I know that it sounds cool. Get rid of the box. What this is a recoil simulator. Now what that does, or what this box does, I'm not 100% sure. But it does something, and I intend to figure out what it does. I suspect what this does, well, apart from the obvious thing, which is simulate recoil, is just control the parts that would actually simulate recoil. So I'm pretty sure there's just some sort of microcontroller or microcomputer in here to control, well, I guess some sort of pneumatic system or something like that. But apparently it's made by who's it made by again? Oh yeah, Delco Defense Contractors, and also General Motors. I guess they're quite related. But 25-30mm recoil simulator, serial number 66. Let's see, when was it made? It doesn't say when it was made, as far as I can tell. Maybe part of the serial number. But, well. So yeah, we're trying that out. And it's at least worth it for these big ass connectors here. Mil spec, really nice. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. I'm glad they mate together too. Everything's better with mating, right? Probably shouldn't have said that. Anyways, so that's that. Should be pretty neat. Alright. Put that in a safe place. And the last thing, I've already opened as well, because I just couldn't wait. Let's see, what kind of hint can I give about this? Let's say that without this thing, you wouldn't be watching this movie. Or film, or video, I guess. Get my Halloween costume out of the way there. Maybe there'll be a video on that sometime. There we go. Let's get some lighting on this sucker. It's a wafer. 12-inch wafer. Apparently some sort of image sensor or memory or something like that, but most likely an image sensor. Very beautiful. One giant crystal of silicon. You can see my printer over there. Quite fragile. I plan on framing this thing, putting some LEDs on the outside of the frame, because there's might be difficult to see in the video, but it's very sparkly and lots of different colors jumping off of it. But I'll open it briefly. Well, I don't know if I trust myself in this sort of precarious balancing situation. Let me slide it out a little bit. We'll do that. Zoom in a bit. And there you go. You can see the colors. It's just light from this. Oh, come on. Well, you can't see the light. I can't pull it over far enough. But it's just one of those little LED lights. So nothing fancy, but you can see the beautiful diffraction going on in the actual little chips. So quite beautiful. So I'll definitely be going up either in my office, which, well, I don't really have an office, in my cube, or my living room, or both. What the heck, I'll throw these two things in, even though they're not really part of the mailbag. Obviously this is a scrolling LED sign. There's something wrong with it, because every time I power it up, it displays like some weird pattern that doesn't really mean anything. So clearly there's something wrong with it, but I'm confident I'll be able to fix it. I plan on putting this at work to like display, you know, outstanding code reviews and test coverage and various neat things like that. Maybe I'll do some videos on it at some point, but maybe I won't. Anyways, old thing from the 80s, I think. There's an EEPROM in there. I suspect that if I dump that out, it'll be all kinds of messed up. Do not remove this cover. Trained service personnel only. Wah. 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 Take that, the man, whoever you are. And this I picked up at a thrift store. Thought it was kind of interesting. It's some sort of rangefinder. This might not be interesting inside, but I bought it just to tear apart. If I can tear this apart from the case, that'd be nice. How is this so difficult? There we go. Right. So, just some sort of a rangefinder. Maybe interesting, might not be interesting. Definitely not in like new condition or anything, but could be interesting. The lady asked me what I'd be using this for, and then I said, you know, to tear it apart and see how it works. She looked at me like I was some sort of alien. It's weird. I wish more people took things apart. Anyways, alright, that's it. Better shut this down before it explodes. Doesn't inspire a lot of confidence when that little window there says Senser, S-E-N-S-E-R. Don't even know how to spell. Anyways, shut her down.